So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can get your peptide brand approved on Google Shopping ads. As you can see in this screenshot right here, this was taken from a merchant center of a peptide brand that I was able to get approved. As you can see, we're selling things like BPC 157, GHK, GLP-1 even. Now, this is specifically for research use only brands. So you actually don't need legit script verified certification or anything like this. If you have that, that's great, but that's a whole different ball game. Likely make another video on that later. But if you are a research use only brand and you want to run Google Shopping ads, this video is going to be for you. So we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, but before we get to that, I want to explain kind of why peptides get banned typically on Google Shopping. There's three main reasons. What you will most likely see is an unapproved pharmaceutical warning or disapproval, essentially. And some of the reasons why that might happen is, number one, because of natural language processing detection. So if anywhere on your website, doesn't matter if it's in the actual product descriptions, in the images, in your meta tags, anything like that, if there's any problematic words or verbiage like healing, weight loss, or essentially anything that signals to Google that this might be a consumer offer, you are absolutely going to get banned very, very quickly. The second thing is trust score, right? So if you're missing COAs, if you don't have any reviews, if you have consumer style layouts, that is going to lower your credibility significantly. Now, there is a caveat here, right? When I say consumer style layouts, what I'm talking about is offers, tiered pricing, buy one, get one, things like that. Checkout flows that essentially are exactly what you would have in a regular Shopify store, where you land on a product page and you're able to add something to cart and immediately check out. These things will typically get you banned because, once again, this signals consumer facing offers, and the whole idea behind getting your research use only peptide brand approved on Google Shopping is that Google understands that you are in fact a research use only and a B2B supplier. Like I said, there is a caveat here, right? So this video is all about how to get approved in the first place, right? Once you start spending, once you've been approved, once you start running your campaigns, a couple of weeks passes, you get a couple $1,000s in ad spend going, your trust score with Google is going to be much, much higher, which means that then you can start to slowly push boundaries. If you look at Google Shopping right now and see all the top guys that are ranking in the prime real estate of the shopping placements, you'll see that a lot of them actually do have very simple checkouts where you can just add a product to cart and check out. Is that technically allowed? Yes and no. But like I said, this video is about getting you approved in the first place. Once you've been approved and once you've built that kind of history, you can absolutely remove friction from your funnel and essentially just make all of your funnels a lot more efficient. Lastly, visual AI. So some of you guys might not know this, but all images get scanned for the actual lexical context on those images as well. So for example, like if you have an image with text on it, that doesn't stop Google's crawl bots from actually analyzing those images and understanding the words that are on those images. Okay, so if you have dosage info, for example, on your vial label, that is something that can get you flagged as well. Okay, so here are 4 very important things that you have to have on your landing pages in order to make sure that you can actually pass these approvals. You have to essentially frame yourself as a B2B scientific supplier, not a consumer pharmacy. One of the big things here is you cannot be advertising ready-to-use liquids at all. Okay, so you have to frame products as raw research materials that require reconstitution, which basically means like you have to use words like lyophilized powder only, freeze-dried, things like that, right? Now, I'll go a step further here and say that if you have BAC water as a part of your collection, or if you're upselling BAC water, that is another big no-no, especially in the beginning stages, because that once again implies consumer-facing like usage and things like that. So I found this to be incredibly helpful, just calling out that everything is freeze dried. Um, and yeah, disclaimers, that's another thing, right? So you guys already probably know about this. It's important to have your disclaimers that this is for laboratory research use only, and it is not for human consumption. I recommend having these above the fold, but also below the fold. So somewhere in the header section, but also in the footer section. You need to have your COAs everywhere. Okay, so every product page needs a certificate of analysis. It's very important. So you can either have that as a crawlable link or you can have it as an image. That is something that Google does verify as well. So if you're making some sort of purity claims in your product descriptions, that has to match what your actual COA say as well. Bulk tiered pricing, this is another big one. If you have consumer styled offers, so buy one, get one, flash sales, countdown timers, any sort of urgency, any sort of like tiered pricing, things like that, I would say that is a big no-no in the beginning stages. Now, can you incorporate some of these things as you go down in the future? Yes, you can. But in the beginning stages, highly recommend that you do not have that. Semantic compliance. So this is another thing. You cannot use any sort of outcome-based language on your pages, which basically means that can't use words like healing, curing, injury recovery, weight loss, fat burner, slimming, anti-aging, none of that, okay? You cannot use words like dose, injection, cycle, PCT, none of that, okay? So you have to use scientific language. Now, if you have trouble with this, it's very easy to go to Claude nowadays and have it restructure and reformat all of your copy to be compliant. That is something that I recommend doing. And then so in terms of the naming conventions, use the scientific compound nomenclature. So GHK, right? Semaglutide, do not use the full marketing names like body protection compound or healing peptide blend. Don't do that. Okay, building trust signals. So when you sign up with the Google Merchant Center, it's going to assign you a trust score based on your verifiable business data, right? So once again, COAs, you got to have that. Third-party reviews. I recommend using Google recognized aggregators, which basically, if you Google this, you'll see a list of Shopify apps that essentially are Google recognized review apps. Now, most of you guys are probably not even going to be on Shopify, but a lot of these apps are available on WordPress and other store builders as well. Okay, legal transparency. This is a big one just in general in terms of getting your merchant center approved. So you have to have congruency and consistency with your business information on your website and on your merchant center. Now, you have to have your legal business name in the footer of your website. You have to have your business address. You have to have your support email. You have to have a phone number, and you have to have your support hours of operation. And now all of that has to match what you put in your business info on the Merchant Center as well. That is incredibly important. What you will see oftentimes is the first time that your Merchant Center gets approved, there's going to be a secondary round of review. So this literally happens in 99% of cases. When you open a new merchant center, it will get approved, a couple of days will pass, and then it will go down for misrepresentation once again. But this time the misrepresentation flag is going to be simply asking you to upload your business identity documents and your personal ID as well. So those documents, whether it's an article of organization or if it's a returned SS4 from the IRS, those have to match what you have put in your business info on the merchant center as well as on your website. Okay, so this is a little bit more complex. These are some of the technical SEO things that you can do to essentially control Googlebot and the ads bot, and control how that system essentially interacts with your website, what kind of information it can actually pull and analyze. So there's certain rules that you can create so you can disallow the crawl bot and the ads bot from reading your cart page, your checkout page, your affiliate program, your blogs, right? All of these are consumer facing paths that Google will typically interpret as consumer facing paths. So if you set those permissions to disallow the crawl bot from reading that, it will make things easier for you in the future. Snippet control as well. You can set certain rules as to how much content the crawl bots can actually pull and save and analyze on certain pages. Same with images. You can control the maximum resolution that the crawl bots can essentially read from the image. And then obviously image safety. This is just in general, never use like before and afters on your product pages. Never show somebody injecting the peptide. Never show any sort of verbiage about the dosage or about the outcomes and things like that. Now, pre-lender strategy. This is more so for Google search ads. So this is slightly different from Google Shopping. But if you wanted to run search ads, and if you wanted to run search ads to a slightly more aggressive sales page, what you can do is you can decouple the ad from the actual sales page. What that basically just means is that instead of going from your Google ad, instead of sending traffic from your Google ad directly to your aggressive sales page, you can put a pre-lender in between. You can make that pre-lender super soft and super compliant, and then you can send that traffic to a slightly more aggressive sales page. So to summarize, pre-launch checklist, right? Super important. Get rid of all of your BOGO offers, all of your countdown timers, sales banners. All of that is a huge no-no. Make sure that you have all of the necessary disclaimers visible on your website. Okay. Make sure your product schema is present and compliant. I do recommend having a negative keyword list in your Google Ads account as well that you use across all of your campaigns. So just to make sure they don't accidentally bid on a keyword like where to buy BBC for injection or something like that, make sure that you never bid on anything like that, because if you do that, it can once again flag you. Make sure you have your COAs everywhere. Make sure that your product images only show clean scientific labels, right? So no dosages, no, crazy marketing visuals, nothing like that. Make sure that you are using third-party aggregator review apps like Stamp, like Yelp, like Trustpilot, things like that, and make sure that your robot's permissions are dialed. So key takeaways, essentially what you want to do is position yourself as a B2B supplier rather than a B2C consumer-facing shop. Like I said, this is all about getting yourself approved in the first place. Obviously, you're going to want to push the boundaries as you kind of keep growing your business, which at the end of the day, that is what everybody does regardless. So everything here was just about getting yourself approved in the first place. Like I said, once you start building trust with Google, you can push the boundaries a little bit. Obviously, stay within your legal limits. Yeah. So if you guys are still having issues getting your peptide brand live on Google Shopping Ads, you can go down in the description, reach out to me, and we're going to get that approved in as little as 14 days. And as you can see in the screenshot, we got BPC 157, GHK, NAD, GLP-3, and all of these are improved and live inside of our Google Ads account. So it's absolutely possible. There are people doing it, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be either.